So we came into this conference, the VRIC, with the first time in probably 6 years where gold was the dominant narrative at this show. We've been fighting for something to promote at this conference since about 2013. And this year, the dominant narrative has, without question, been gold. Now we're hitting new highs since 2013. Finally, mainstream fund managers like Ray Dalio are putting their clients and recommending investors turn to gold and gold equities. It's our viewpoint that when that trickles down from the gold bullion and gold as a hard asset investment into the equities, specifically the junior equities, it's projects in tried and tested jurisdictions that pop first. And there's none more favorable than Nevada. So we wanted to cover Nevada today with a few of our favorite projects. So what I want to talk about today is first a high-level discussion just on the gold price. We'll talk about the equities a little bit, and then why Nevada, why we're all in Nevada, and then I want to get into some company details with our three entrepreneurs on the panel. Sound good?
My name is Max Sali. I'm the CEO of Barrian Mining Corp. We are a fairly new IPO. We listed April 29th. We drilled our Bolo project in the summer, just over 1,800 meters, spent $500,000 and hit some of the highest grade oxide results in Nevada of 2019 out of any junior or major producer. Since then, we have acquired Kinsley from Liberty Gold. Liberty Gold's a $300 million market cap company. It was a project that no one thought was for sale. We got a deal done. I'm holding 14 grams per ton material here from Kinsley. It comes with a resource, and we're just going through a period. We're updating the 43-101. Then we're going to announce a very, very large brokered financing in February and come trading back in March. So for us, our goal was to keep stepping it up. Something that Marion Catus always told me is keep stepping it up and go as hard as you can and find a big asset. And I think for Barrian, having critical mass and getting this asset allows me to raise significant funds to drill our Nevada projects. And what you really need now when the gold price is running is significant funds to drill, and that will allow Barrian to truly grow as a company.
Thank you, Max. And Andrew, we also caught up in October, and you put out news since then recently, and I think there's more news coming. Why don't you share that with us?
Yeah, so I run a company called Blackrock Gold. We've got about 45 square kilometers right where two of the most prolific gold belts in the world collide with each other, the Northern Nevada Rift and the Carlin Trend. So on one side of our project, we've got some of the largest gold mines in North America, and then flanking us on most other directions are some of the highest grade gold mines on the planet. And we've got this big piece of land. It's not a proximity play, but if this were from a real estate perspective, this would sort of be akin to having a corner lot in Beverly Hills. And it's barely been scratched. This project's been in purgatory for 15 years, undrilled. 3 different majors have done 3 small rounds of drilling on it, and 3 different discoveries of grade were made, and none of them have ever been followed up. So, we did the first drill program on this that the project has seen in 15 years. We released partial results from some of the holes. We hit grades up to 8 grams per ton over 1.5 meters. But really what we were setting out to do with this was to prove a concept. And that was that we had all previous drilling on our project was done through the idea that the veins ran in one direction. We looked at all the data and figured everyone had actually been running east trying to catch a sunset. We looked at it, we figured we had an idea, we tested it, we proved our concept. We now think we've got a trend, east-west trending vein system across our entire project up to about 5 kilometers. We've got more results coming. We released less than maybe a third of all the meters drilled from this first set of results. We've had a bit of a shakeout in the stock recently because we had financing of cheap paper that I did in September at 16 cents. Hit the market 2 weeks ago. We've churned through all of that since then. This is the first time we've been under 20 cents in about 4.5 months, and we're sitting on nothing but results coming up over the next month to 2 months, and we got another drill program starting up. So we're excited. This is going to be a very active couple months, and last time this project was drilled, everyone was seeing through black and white. They had the orientation wrong. Now we're seeing it in full color, so we're excited.
Thanks, Andrew. Now, Bob, you completed drilling on 5 of your projects last year at Renaissance. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Any results you'd like to share with us?
Bob Felder, Renaissance Gold. We're a prospect generator, so our business is really to do early stage project generation, spend our own money to build targets based on geology, geochemistry, geophysics, and good boots on the ground geologic work, and then attract partners to come in and fund drilling in exchange for equity in the project should they complete an earn-in and invest in the project. We've been executing that at a pretty good level. Last year and the year before, we got 5 projects drilled and funded by partners. The early stage exploration, unfortunately, didn't yield a discovery for us this year, and some of those projects turned over, but I think there is a highlight going on. Our Silicon project, which is down in the Bear Mountain district by Beatty, that's next door to Corvus and Coeur. That district has been pretty busy lately. AngloGold Ashanti has an option on our Silicon project. They've not been releasing data, but the circumstantial evidence points to a significant success in that they've been paying us annually payments, and the final payment on this deal, it's a $3 million payment to earn 100%, and then we would retain a royalty on the project. So Silicon is looking successful. We're waiting for Anglo to start talking, but we're expecting a $2.5 million payment this June, and then the company will retain a royalty on that project. So that's a success that we unfortunately don't have a lot of detail on, but in piecing the puzzle pieces together, it's looking like something significant for the company. So I'd say it's in the stay tuned category right now.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. Now, I'll start with you, Max. We caught up in October in San Francisco. I think you're the newest entrepreneur to be running a gold company on this panel. So I want to ask why? Why gold? Why now? And I'll intro this question with a quote that I heard on the gold panel this morning from Rick Rule, which I absolutely loved. There is no excuse for anybody in this audience not making an amazing amount of money in the next 5 years. That was on our Ultimate Gold panel. That's a Rick Rule classic. So Max, why gold? Why now?
You know what? I mean, when I got into the markets in 2009, gold skyrocketed, and you saw everyone kind of flood into these junior miners. And I forget what the percentage was, but something like 80% of the juniors went to $1, and a lot of these companies had nothing. And it was such an experience for me then. I figured, well, what happens if you do it in the next gold cycle and you build a real company with real assets? What could happen? You see everything in the world with what's going on with valuations at insane highs in the American markets and the amount of money being printed at all-time highs, and what Trump is doing and blowing things up overseas. Something's got to give, and I think that gold is a safe haven. It's always been, and when all the billionaires are now jumping on it and saying, hey, this is the time that you should be putting part of your wealth into gold, is just, it seems silly that you wouldn't either buy physical gold or buy a gold company that has ounces in the ground and participate along with the side of these junior exploration companies, because as they go, we go, and we all make money.
Thank you. Now, I want to transition to you, Andrew. The follow-up question to Rick's quote this morning after his bold statement was, yeah, but the issue is investors have long memories, and they remember the excessive G&A and reckless spending of a lot of junior equities. So what do you have to say about that? What's different this time if we're at the early stages of the next bull market? What are you guys doing differently?
Listen, I can't speak for the entire industry, but I can speak for how we run our company at Blackrock. Listen, never trust a chef that doesn't eat his own cooking. That means don't trust management teams that aren't putting their own skin in the game. Not through options, but actual shares, buying their own money. I came to Blackrock as an investor first, and I'm militant about our budget. Every dollar I raise has a purpose. We're not raising $1 more than we need to, and generally all placements I've done have been above market because I control about 7% of our company fully diluted, and I paid serious money for it, and I'm continuing to write checks too, but I just want to get us to the next set of, deliverables, and then the next set, and then the next set. So it's about putting one foot in front of the other. Avoid the lifestyle companies like the plague, because they will churn through other people's money very easily. It's very straightforward to spend $1 million just like that. And if there's no real end goal, it can disappear, and you're adding, the floats become impossible for real investors to make money. So it's important for, investors to ensure that CEOs and management actually have skin in the game and treat it as an investment too. It's not just a project, it's projects and share structure.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Now, Bob, there's gold jurisdictions all over the world. Nevada-based projects are getting a disproportionate amount of attention right now. Can you comment on why that is?
We're dyed-in-the-wool gold explorers, and Nevada's been a hot jurisdiction for many, many years. It's where our expertise lies, and so for us, working in Nevada is where we can do the most good. And our predecessor company had a success and made a lot of money for shareholders. We think our technical team can do it again, and Nevada's the best place to work. I mean, the access to the capital for Nevada, access to getting on projects. It's nothing like working in the Yukon where you've got a 3-month season and it costs you half of your budget just to set up infrastructure. So we're very bullish on Nevada, and we think that there's still discoveries to be made. The market still has to catch up on recognizing the kind of funding it's going to take to explore undercover, for example. That's a big step right now that's happening in the industry, and I think everybody has embraced the undercover idea, but the capital markets don't yet fully understand that it takes a different level of patience and funding to actually do it effectively. But that's something we're doing, and I think we're doing it effectively, and we think we're going to deliver another discovery doing it.
Now, Max, you touched on your acquisition a little bit, which I think is the big news for you this year, and the subsequent financing. So maybe talk about the financing a little bit. Who's involved? Do you think there's some familiar names you can share with us?
So we are announcing a brokered financing led by Sprott Capital Partners out of Toronto, the same guys that funded Liberty Gold. It'll be 60% Sprott, 20% Raymond James, and 20% PI for $15 million. Looking at my book now, we're probably going to top it up. And it's just, the size of the Kinsley project. Kinsley's had 40 to 50 million US spent on it. We're paying 7.5 million US over 2 years, 2.5 on signing, 2.5 year one in cash, and then 2.5 worth of Barrian stock in year 2. So the terms are very good. We're paying about $14 an ounce in the ground. With the updated technical report, that should come down to 12 because our ounces will probably increase closer to 600,000 ounces. It's 2 parts to this project. There's an oxide and there's a sulfide. The sulfide is non-refractory and it floats. So all the met work's been done. It's got an open pit model. This is a project that people did not think was for sale. I got a deal done with Cal Everett. Cal was writing me a lead order in the financing. We will get to use his technical team. And going on what Rick Rule said earlier, something that Cal told me when we had lunch last week is if you have $1 million to put in the market and you're smart, you're going to come out of this gold rush with 10 to 15. So I think now is the time to find these big assets and hit it hard. And we plan to spend $4 to $10 million in Kinsley in the next 2 years, US, and another 3 to 6 on our Bolo project. So being fully funded to drill these projects will truly take Barrian to the next step.
Excellent. Thank you, Max. And coming back to you, Andrew, you were kind of the story of the year last year, right? When you took over Blackrock, the stock was at 3 cents, and you took that price up to 35. My question for you was going to be, is there still upside for shareholders? You touched on this right now. I think it's a buying opportunity. What are you telling shareholders right now?
Buy. Listen, our understanding of the project has never been better. We've proven that we understand the concept. We're targeting high-grade veins in Nevada. This isn't something that people normally put together, but we're right next door to Hollister, which they average 39 grams per ton. We're directly south of, and the veins at Hollister point directly at us. We're south of the Midas mine, which in its heyday was producing around 30 grams per ton. That's about what Fosterville is producing at now. It's a 4 million ounce discovery. Those veins are pointing right at our project right now. If this were Roman times, like all roads are leading to Rome, and our project's that. We're not a target generator, but our geologist keeps generating targets because we've got vein systems across our entire project. He found 8 veins outcropping at surface directly adjacent to Hollister, where their veins are pointing right there. No one's ever put a hole up there. Down where we're drilling, where we've got results coming in right now, we've pieced together what looks like a trend of 5 kilometers, which there's been, once again, people are drilling it in the wrong direction. We now know which way to look. And 2, we're hitting good grades, but what we know from at least the partial results that we got so far is that we're hitting it right at the top of the epithermal system. The high grades, the bonanza grades, the potential there is at depth, and that potential is inherent. All you have to do is look around. I'm not getting out of bed for 8 grams per ton sort of stuff, but all you have to do is look next door and look to your north and south, and that's ounce per ton sort of material. And if we connect the dots, it looks like we solved this puzzle in 2D right now. And our next drilling, which starts in 2 weeks, we're going to go deep. We're doing 2 deep holes, and that's a far easier nut to crack. So we'll hopefully get a 3D understanding and piece together a system, a trend, and also figure out that bonanza horizon. If we do, the potential is story of the year again.
Now, Bob, an important bullet point for Renaissance, I think, is your share structure. You guys have kept it very tight. Can you touch on that for us, and maybe you also talk about your cash position?
Sure. We're actually in a very fortunate position for a prospect generator these days. We've got about, our last financials had us at $3.5 million in treasury. I mentioned a minute ago that we're expecting a large payment from Anglo in June. So, next June our treasury will be somewhere in the $4 to $5 million range. Our share structure, our share capital is still tight, 68 million shares issued and outstanding. I think it's about 93 fully diluted with warrants and options. But we're in a position where we don't really need to go to market for at least the next couple of years. And so we can explore aggressively, continue to try to add value to the company through our exploration and our joint venture model. And it's a really good place to be, because a lot of the juniors, especially over the last 6 to 8 years, you always have that cloud of where's my next financing going to come from. And so we have a little bit of rope, and we're going to do some good with it.
Excellent. Okay, now we have a couple minutes left. I want to catch any questions if there are any. Does anybody have any questions for the panel? Okay, if not, what I'd like for my panelists now is to let the audience know where they can find you on the show floor, and anything that I missed. If there's something you want to mention that I didn't touch on today, specific to your team or your project, anything like that, now's your opportunity. We'll start with Andrew and head towards Bob.
Sure. Well, you can find us in the back corner, booth 338. Listen, the thing, you guys are, there's a technical aspect to these companies, but ultimately, if you're at an investment conference, you want to know how to make money. What you want to do is look at the stories that have run in the past few years. They've been vein-hosted discoveries in good jurisdiction. Well, we're targeting high-grade veins in Nevada. Where we are, we're two prolific trends. We're surrounded by major mining companies, and no one's arm-waving about that. Everyone's talking Red Lake or Golden Triangle. That's because you got all these juniors arm-waving and staking ground. We're surrounded by $1 billion+ companies, and they've been making gold for 30 years. So our project to have this opportunity is wild, and please join us on the journey. Our symbol's BRC on the venture.
Thanks, Andrew. Max.
You can find, I'll be at booth 611. I started a gold company in hopes that I'd make a ton of money. I think that's why everyone kind of gets into this space, and I am the largest shareholder. I bought 1 million shares in the market before we halted for this transaction. I come here today, and I've been here every year for 8 years, and this has got to be the busiest year I've seen in 6 of them. I have a feeling, that the markets are coming back for the mining sector. You've seen the devastation in marijuana and all the other little kind of fads over the last few years, and has never been a more exciting time to get into, I think, a gold story, and a good gold story, and especially in somewhere like Nevada where it's safe and you don't have to worry about being covered in snow or bombs going off. It's just, Nevada is such a great place to work, and now with who's financing me and who's backing this company, you can invest alongside it with all of us and hopefully see a lot of potential this year.
Thank you, Max. Bob.
We're here in booth 600, which is over against the wall. Also starting today and tomorrow, we're over at Roundup in the Prospect Generators Hub, which is a new venue they've started at Roundup to introduce people to companies and people looking at projects. So it's a little less on the investment side, more on the technical side. But we're over there as well. I'd invite anybody who's interested to talk to us about whatever to come there as well. And we're definitely discovery focused. That's the primary goal. The secondary goal, obviously, is to make a lot of money for shareholders, but it takes the discovery to do that, and that's our focus.
Okay, thank you. Now, I'm not a technical investor, and I'm not a geologist. I think as an investor, you have to touch on the tools that are closest to you, and I'm more in the people business than anybody else I know. And what I look at right now is sentiment, and the smartest people that attend my conferences and speak at my shows, people like Rick Rule, Frank Holmes, Marion Katusa, are all looking at Nevada right now. That's why I'm looking at Nevada right now. I just follow the leader, and I recommend investors take a similar approach. That's why we host these events. We try to bring in the smartest thought leaders, fund managers, money managers in this space, because I want to share what they're doing with all of you, like they share it with me. Okay, thank you so much for coming. And we have another company presentation hitting the stage next. Thank you so much. Please give my panel a round of applause.